Hi, happy Independence Day. Yes, it is July 4th, and I'm outside. I'm outside. All right. So, welcome to the Composite. I believe this is episode 13. And it's a holiday episode. I didn't go live yesterday. Mondays have seemed to be a good day for me to be consistent. I'm just like super tired. Ugh. But welcome to the show. It's like a combination of the heat and I live in the Northeast. The air quality has been pretty bad, and I'm asthmatic, so it's kind of been taking me out. Sorry about the hair. It's a little puffy with the humidity and whatnot. I think you see little sizzle marks around my face. It is hot out here. But I decided to come outside because a little bit more visual interest. I was trying to, wait, hold on. So it's my apartment complex, part of it at least. A little bit more visual interest, but also, just to alleviate dog issues. So she's indoors under the AC, and I'm out here. And I don't know how long this episode will be. There's a lot of stuff going on. Just wanted to touch base. I'll probably go live again Thursday or Friday. Hold on a second. I have my trusty tea mug with me, right? Multitasking here. So, what things do I want to talk about? Yeah, and also too, because of the holiday, I was hoping that if I got on earlier, that there might be a little bit more interest in terms of an audience. But that's neither here nor there. You have to, I think, cultivate, space in terms of social media over time. And I'm still really new to this. I think I started in May, so June. So yes, it hasn't even. It's barely been 2 months, if it has been 2 months even. So, I didn't put enough sugar in this. Oh well. So yes, I'm on tea because I think on an earlier episode, I said my doctor wanted me to kind of kick caffeine. My blood pressure had been elevated. I've been kind of stressed out. And I just had trouble kicking it. But, over the past several days, I'm trying to finally get my act together with this. So I think this is day 4 or 5 on tea. And I've done it before in the past, but just something about like right now, in terms of dealing with reality or whatever, it seems like coffee is necessary or helps me cope. We'll put it with that. So, now today is July 4th, Independence Day in the United States. And, a lot of folks, given where we are societally, it's been kind of quiet on social media. And a lot of people are like, well, if you look at the rulings out of the Supreme Court, even going back to last year, in terms of women's reproductive rights, in terms of rights for non-white people, when it comes to college admissions, civil rights protections for LGBTQ plus folks. I have people on my Facebook timeline, Instagram timeline saying kind of like, well, screw, July 4th, just in terms of celebrating or in terms of feeling, patriotic or having any type of, pride in being an American. And I was thinking about that because I understand the sentiment, but I can't help thinking that that's the trap. And I wanted to just start the show by just addressing that aspect. So here's the thing. When you have a group of people, right, and they're like, okay, well, my life would be better if X group of people didn't have the same access to whether it's resources, inclusion, so on and so forth, that I do. Now, yes, there have been legislative losses and setbacks, but I would want to encourage people not to take that tact, because in that regard, I feel like the folks that want us out of the game, so to speak, will win. So if I don't feel equal ownership in the United States, then I'll continue to disengage. And then, other groups that want me disenfranchised will feel more empowered. I hope that makes sense. And so that doesn't mean that you need to, gosh, my nose is itching, sorry. That doesn't mean you need to be out here with fireworks or anything, or that doesn't mean that, you need to be like, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, America's perfect, so on and so forth. But what that does mean is I think we have to steel ourselves, right, and really gear up for a fight. Because one thing that I am thinking about is if things don't start going in a different direction, this will probably be one of the last Independence Days we have. We might get another couple in, but I think we're at this point a little bit too far down the road of fascism to continue to ignore it. And, it's going to be incumbent upon us that feel differently, that believe in progress, that want to see more progress. It's going to be up to us to fight. And if you have the mentality that, this holiday doesn't apply to me, I'm not seen as an equal American, which, I personally don't feel that I am, but I'm not going to lose ground in terms of my stake in this country. As I'm trying to formulate my thoughts in a way where it's succinct but not offensive. There just wouldn't be this country and its wealth and its progress and its diversity without my people. I'm just going to be honest. Anyone else who tells you otherwise is bullshitting. And so with that being said, why would I cede that? It's my birthright, and then also where else would I go? France is on fire. And I'm not laughing at them. I'm just laughing at the state of events in the world. There are wars and strife and discord everywhere. Where would I actually go to be quote unquote safe from any of that? And in my mind, the answer is nowhere. So I would rather be here. I would rather be here in the land that my ancestors fought for. That they suffered in. And I just wanted to say to anybody that is feeling a little hopeless right now, because I definitely do have those moments. Sit with it. Grief is important. Anger is important. But as much as you can, try not to let that overtake you. Because as much as we have wrong here, we have the potential to be so much more. And so I'm not celebrating today. I'm not barbecuing. I wasn't invited to any barbecues. You know, I didn't go to the movies or anything that I used to do in the past, but I just wanted to encourage the people that feel targeted, that feel downtrodden, not to give up. Because if you give up, you know, what's the alternative? Honestly, I feel like when I see these rallies with, like, you know, Moms for Liberty and people like that, I don't know them, okay? So that's the caveat. But I feel as if I give in to despair, that would make them happy. And folks that have embraced hate and exclusion, I don't want to make them happy. I just don't. So maybe it's a little Pollyanna-ish, but that's my word on that. So happy Independence Day. Other things. You know, I wanted to maybe share my favorite 4th of July. It was always a big holiday for me growing up because, you know, family would stop by the house and we would barbecue and stuff. And I'm from Far Rockaway, Queens, which, you know, if you're unfamiliar, geographically is over near John F. Kennedy, Airport. And I would be able to sit on the stairs of our house and just get a really good view of the fireworks. And so I kept thinking of a specific memory, but it always kept coming back to that. You know, just they would always do it. I think they started around 8:45 or 9 p.m. And just being able to see the whole show and just how beautiful it was. And, you know, that's just a big memory I have from my childhood. Just being out there every year and watching it. And so it's just like, I wonder if they still have the same view. I hope so. Yeah. Other things that are going on. I did mention that France is on fire. And what's interesting is I'm still on Twitter at the moment, which I have a Twitter story about that. Stick a pin in it. But a lot of people were surmising that Elon Musk must have put a censorship or a ban on discussing the situation over there because people weren't getting as much information about the situation as they would like. And so I don't want to be conspiratorial, but yes, it's interesting if you go to CNN.com or, I mean, I put the news on a little bit earlier today just out of curiosity to see what they were talking about. And, you know, in the hour that I was listening and had it in the background, nothing about the riots in France were mentioned. I did see a little bit of footage, though, daytime footage of like burned cars and busted out windows and stuff. They're going hard over there. very hard. And, people have arguments like, oh, well, you're burning down your community and your neighborhood, and, that's not going to do anything and nobody's going to pay attention. But that's actually not true, right? Because when the state sanctions extrajudicial killings, right? So you give police guns and you train them that it's okay, even more than okay, you train them that it's desirable for them to execute people, right? Well, what are they, executing them for? It's usually over alleged property theft, alleged property damage, things in relationship to that. And so you militarize the police force, and you're operating under the premise that the state as an entity and property as material possessions are more important than people. And so if you're on the abject, side of that equation, right? If you're on the downtrodden side of that equation, how do you fight back? You burn shit, right? If the structure of the state and property are more important than human beings, then you burn it down. And that's how you make your point. I'm not saying I'm burning anything down. I'm not. I'm sitting on a patio. But I would never tell a group of people who are being subjugated in that way and who are suffering in that way, I would never tell them that, oh, there are better ways to express your frustration, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, how dare you? You're not in their situation. I feel like that's a very privileged response, and it's just a worn out talking point. Hold on. Now, back to Twitter, which I had mentioned. So I kept hearing people talk about Spill, and I guess Spill is a Twitter alternative. And it's a Twitter alternative created by 2 ex-Twitter employees, because it looks like Elon Musk is firing everybody. And so they've created an alternative, and I haven't seen it. I'm not on it because I don't have a code yet. But nevertheless, people kept posting about it, and I'm like, Spill, what is this? What is this? And, I saw that, it's alternative. And then at the moment, at the moment, most folks on it are, people of color, specifically Black people, people in the LGBTQ plus community. And, they can't come to Twitter and they're like, oh my God, Spill is so much better. The interface is better. It's so much fun, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, but you need a code to get in, And I guess that a lot of people on Twitter got in their feelings. And the reason that I say this is the creators of Spill, they did a video, and it was basically like a mea culpa. Like, hey, Spill is not racist, and, it's for everybody, and blah, blah, blah. And because I guess, like, they felt as if it was being marketed as an all-Black space, and, people got their feelings hurt. And so here's what I would say just to that. I'm not against it. I haven't seen it. I'm not cool. I don't have a code. But black people, haven't we been down this road before? I remember distinctly something similar happening with Clubhouse, right? So it seems like there's word of mouth around a new social media platform, and black people tend to be earlier adopters for some reason. I'm not a social scientist, so I don't know why that's the case. If I had to take a guess, it's probably because we're always looking for spaces where we can be welcome, or looking for spaces where we can be more comfortable. And I mean, there's just so much vileness just in general, and white supremacy specifically on these social media platforms. I don't blame people for looking for alternatives. But I brought up Clubhouse because the same thing happened, right? It was like, oh, you had to know someone and you had to be cool and you had to give you the code. And then once they give you the code, you can get on there. And then it's like, oh, it's black people on here. Oh, it's lit. Oh, we turn up, da 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 da. And then it becomes the same shit as Facebook, the same shit as Instagram, the same shit as Twitter. Once I saw that they did that video, because they were obviously, the guy, his body language, his facial expressions, he looked pretty freaked out. And once he started pandering, I was like, yeah, this is just going to be the same shit, right? You get a bunch of people of color primarily, and people in the queer community over in that space, and they make it quote unquote cool, and then everybody floods in, and then it's back to MAGA. So it's just gonna be the same thing. So here's what I would say. I think we actually need to get offline. Just a thought. And this is from somebody who is very reticent to leave the house. Put a pin in that. I'll come back to that. We need to get offline. And especially, thinking back to how I started the show, right? Thinking about the fascist road we're going down. Organizing is not going to happen online, right? Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are not going to let you organize on their platforms, period. That's not happening. And so use social media as a tool, but social media shouldn't be our primary connection. And so I'm not really going to get too excited about Spill at this point because, like I said, it just looks like it's going to be rinse and repeat. Another pointless platform like that Mastodon. I still don't know how to use that. I signed up for an account on there back, I think, March or April, whenever Elon Musk started doing his bullshit. But I was like, I don't understand how this works. So I'm probably going to cancel that account. And that's another thing I'm thinking about. Like, I want to keep doing this show, but it's like, how much longer am I going to be on social media? I thought about going to YouTube, but YouTube's, jerking the creators around in terms of like monetization and censorship as well. So it's all of these platforms pretty much have the same problem. But yes, coming back to the idea of reticent to leave my house. Sorry, this is like a stream of consciousness today. I saw on the news there was a shooting in Philly, which is near me. There was a shooting in Baltimore, and then there was another one in Texas. And then at my place of employment, there was a gun scare earlier this year. And so it's like anytime at this point in the last, I would say, about 3 or 4 months, when there's a group of large people, I'm just always like looking around and stuff. And it's not like that situation has changed. I mean, this is a violent country. It's always been that way. But I think the gun scare at the place of my employment made it a lot more real. And, what does it mean when you're not living the life you want to live and then you lose it? So I was really shaken up by that experience. And so I had no intentions really on doing anything today, which is sad because I do feel pretty, disconnected from most people that I would say that I'm close to. But at the same time, it's like every time you leave your house, it's like, you get in, I get in the car, say a prayer to God, say a prayer to the ancestors, and, we'll see what happens. My summer gig, I've got a really long commute. Say a prayer to God, say a prayer to the ancestors, and see what happens. And I really hate feeling that way. So social media, so this interaction here that I've been doing, on this, I don't know what you would call it, show, podcast, but it's been helpful for me because it's allowed me the opportunity to speak, right, in community to a certain extent, but without the massive level of risk. I mean, even if you're in your house, there's a risk, but nevertheless, without like the massive level of risk. But even with that being said, when I tell people, oh, hey, get off social media, I mean myself as well. I'm not like excluding myself from that. I know I'm going to have to, reduce the time that I spend on my phone, reduce the time that I spend, watching Netflix and, self-medicating with media. But it is a little bit scary, right? Because how do you transition into that? It feels as if, face-to-face human interaction is almost a vestigial organ of society, which is a shame, but it does feel that way. So how do you go back to analog, so to speak, from digital? But yeah, don't hop on another platform. Or here's the thing, if you do, like, let's say hypothetically, I'm Jill, right? I'm Jill and I've got all these social media platforms and I want to sign up for Spill. So Jill wants to be on Spill. I would say, okay, cool, Jill. Are you willing to maybe give up one of the other platforms, so you can be in that space? And, so that's the way I'm thinking about it now. Like, can I narrow my usage down to maybe like 2-3 platforms max and then keep it moving? So, for example, I know TikTok is super popular. I don't have it. There's one person, her name's Dr. Nicole Truesdell, and she does response videos, and she has these elaborate reading lists. She's a highly intelligent person, but she can talk really fast. I don't talk as fast as she does, but she just, is spitting all of these facts and all of this information in these TikTok videos. So it seems like that's, a medium that works well for her. But I'm just grateful that she also posts it on Instagram because I don't like TikTok. TikTok, to me, I feel like I lose 50 brain cells every time I see a TikTok video other than her videos. And that doesn't mean that there aren't other people on there that have really great content. It's just that other than her videos, the only thing that I see in terms of what people share on like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram is just nonsense. It's just like stupid dances, or like, I don't know why this format bothers me, but there is a type of, get ready with me video, which if you're unfamiliar, like the get ready with me videos is 9 times out of 10 it's a woman, and she looks like me, hair messed up and everything, and it's like before she does her makeup and hair and clothes, And so people do these videos, which is fine, but then people are lip syncing to different songs, specifically like rap songs, and they're like, and then like, you know, after you pull the hand back, that's supposed to be like, ta-da, or whatever. And it just seems so fucking stupid to me. I don't know why. I don't have a good way to articulate that. It just seems buffoonish if you just keep doing it. Does that make sense? And so that's usually what I see from TikTok. And I'm like, this is such a bullshit format and everybody keeps doing it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I don't have a TikTok account. I don't want a TikTok account. Maybe if I had a TikTok account, this show would be more successful by this point. I'm not sure. But we're not doing it. So back to my hypothetical example, Jill, who wants to be on Spill. I would say, so Jill, if you move to Spill, would you be willing to give up TikTok? Would you be willing to give up Mastodon? Which I definitely plan on doing because that shit is whack. I mean, at this point, I have social media accounts that, you know, I created an account. And I don't ever do anything with it. I don't use it. You know, as a teacher, I have signed up for a Snapchat just because, like, it was starting to be an issue at the particular school that I was working at. But when students were trying to explain to me what was going on, because a lot of people were posting, you know, problematic stuff, rumors, racist stuff, things like that. And I was like, well, I couldn't visualize what the students were saying because I'd never been on Snapchat. And so I created a Snapchat account. So now I have a Snapchat account. I don't use it. And so I'm like, you know what? I should probably just like delete this. But, so just to give an example, things like that. And it's somewhat sad but predictable that as we have these technological advancements and as we have these tools available, for every one benefit that they provide, you really have to think deeply about the 5 negatives that they bring. Because I really feel as if it's created just some really toxic habits. And I'll go ahead and end on this. So I mentioned last show my thoughts about the Supreme Court decision, college admissions. And I guess there is a civil rights organization, and they've gone ahead and filed a complaint about legacy admissions, which is frankly a larger problem. I mean, the article that I was looking at said 36% of first-year Harvard students are legacy. 36%. That's more than a third. You know all the people that are applying to that university? So if you want to talk about taking, quote-unquote, taking spots, there's no way all of them have the grades and the activities and the personalities and the work ethic where they all 36% of the legacies in that first year class at Harvard belong there. And so with that being said, the civil rights organization, they filed a complaint. They were like, oh, well, affirmative action was actually a counterbalance to this nonsense that you all have going on. But now that the Supreme Court wants to take it away, we should take this away as well. If the whole argument against affirmative action is, oh, things should be based on merit, legacy is not based on merit, right? Like, you don't control the sperm and the egg that you come from. You just don't. And so, sorry, I'm saying a lot. So they filed a complaint, And again, I'm in the dumpster fire called Twitter, and people are like, oh, well, why did they do that? That's not going to do anything, and that's not going to get repealed, and nobody cares, and just is so negative. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but sometimes you have to put the system on record in terms of their, preference for inequality. So here's what I mean by that. So let's say the complaint, let's say that evolves into a lawsuit. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how the progression of that, but let's say the, complaint evolves into a lawsuit. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to need to go in the house because I'm hearing some background noise here. And then from there, it goes into a lawsuit and it finds its way to the Supreme Court. Those bastards have to go on record saying, yeah, we know we said that affirmative action was problematic because it was antithetical to merit, but that doesn't apply here with legacy. So even if they strike it down, they have to go on record saying that. And then as the judicial branch of the government, they have to put the U.S. government on record as saying, we're full of shit and we're hypocritical and this is a double standard. So I think sometimes people, myself included, can be short-sighted. But I mean, that's why one of the initial premises of this show was I don't do hot takes. I try to sit and think about something, and the knee-jerk reaction or the hot take when it comes to this issue, like, oh, well, why are they filing something about legacy? No one's going to care. That's not going to work. But sometimes you need to put people on record in terms of what they're saying, right? Because if it's on record, it's like, they said they don't want affirmative action because it's against merit, but then they are upholding legacy. That is a powerful tool, rhetorically, for those who, again, want to keep fighting, who don't want to cede ground to the corrosive elements that we have emerging within the country. Sorry about the noise. I'm outside. All right. So that's something hopefully to think about. And hopefully someone will want to view this episode either later today or in the future, and continue to enjoy your Independence Day. God bless and good night.